Hello everyone, this is Jeannette Meier, founder and co-creator of the Positive Impact Movement. And I'm here happy to share with you a conversation I have co-created with a socially conscious leader that inspires and empowers us to connect to our heart, to be who we are, and to create what we love for a better world. I hope you enjoy it. Love you lots. That's beautiful, not to know what we are going to talk about and then realizing what we did create.
And we look back and see, wow, this was amazing. We didn't think that would happen. Wow. Yeah. And so one thing that comes to my mind as I've been spending time the last 1 week here in the hills, solitude can really bring up a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And being alone in this place, which is pretty quiet. You can hear wild elephants at night and even during daytime. Yeah, it's close to the forest reserve, which practically is inside a forest reserve. And so solitude can bring up a lot of things that that stays inside, that's it's almost like waiting for you to settle down, be alone, and all of that stuff just comes up. And then we have a decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to play the victim? Are we going to be the witness and analyze what's going on and take that as an opportunity to release? So that's been my journey. And in all of this, I think the key has been focus.
Yeah.
Where I place my attention when this is happening. Am I placing my attention on all the stories, the thoughts, and the emotions all the time and playing victim to them?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I placing my attention on what do I want to create? Like the last time we spoke.
Yes.
And you said that surrender is one thing, which is great. And you're doing it with a purpose to focus on your creation. Like, what do you want to create?
Yes. Yes.
And so making that choice of just constantly putting my focus on what I want to create, and also having the opportunity to release all of these stories that are coming up, which is just a reflection of, all the trauma or things being held inside just coming up. So opportunity to release that as well. So it's been double cleansing work for me.
Yes.
That's what I've been realizing. And all of this game is so much about just attention and where we place it, the focus.
Yes. It's totally true in everything. No, everything is to really focus. Even the focus of not playing victimhood. So knowing I'm not, this mind is playing around with me and is telling me all those things, but I'm not going to play that. No, this is victim. I'm not a victim. So I will focus there. No. So it's this constant observation of really what's happening inside of us, realizing why we're feeling how we're feeling. But that's okay. It's a realization. It's not to go deep and back and think and no. It's the realization that it's part of the letting go.
Yeah, it's a realization.
The realization, because many times you ask yourself, no. People ask, okay, you're saying to let go, and how am I going to let go if I'm there, no? And at the end, it's like you're saying, focus on where you want, and realize it's already okay. You realize, you did the click. Okay, that's it. Don't wonder the whys in the back, because it doesn't matter. It already happened. You've learned from that. You're realizing. So, okay, done. Don't put it here, because then again, you're not focusing, because you're here and you're not focusing where you're going, no?
Yeah, it's like getting stuck in that whirlwind again.
Yes.
And yet, even what I'm noticing is that being here, like for example, where I am today, although quite impulsively I chose this place to be here, and everything just aligned so beautifully to bring me here. And I won't get into the details and bore you with that, but I would just say that it just I just put an intention and it just happened. And life brings us to these situations and all of these crazy things that happen in life, which we might call, unexpected tragedies and painful things. I feel that they're also happening so that we face what we need to let go. With everything working out well, I would never have addressed these things, by myself, choosing it.
Yeah, true.
It's like, so things happen, and then you have a choice now to face it. And I think when this is happening, what I'm realizing is that the old structures, the structures which form the thoughts, and rather my deeper values that even I don't even know unconsciously, which pretty much create my thoughts and emotions most of the time, which I can see and access, but I can't access my values. Those, now I see those are shifting at, and I think the purpose of this whole thing of life throwing like a spanner in the wheel is just when the values need to change. And that's what I'm realizing now.
It's true. Yes, because values are our even if, like you say, we not always realize the values, values are our foundation, no?
Yes.
It's how it defines how we act and respond to certain things. So yes, certainly when we get things pushed, when we get pushed against a wall, or no, when we are there and receive all these experiences that make us see. We when we realize we are also seeing or uncovering those values, no, some of the values that we have, the way we've seen things, discovering why we've seen things, what it's the significance of those things, no, and then deep inside, since you're observing, it's okay, why does this come? And then it's when we figure out the values that are underneath, relate to that.
And for the viewers, I just want to, the guys who are watching this, what I want to add is just a little example of what these values mean, although they're unconscious. Oftentimes our preferences in life, what we get shocked by, what we are surprised by, what we like, what we dislike, we don't even think what is running these things, these choices that we have, and we call them our preferences. I like this, I don't like that. But oftentimes these are based on these unconscious values that were set way before we even gained consciousness, maybe even like from our childhood, or sometimes in traumatic situations where we were already in a trance, an emotional trance, so we don't even remember that they were set. And I think when we make that conscious choice, somewhere an intention is set that I want to deal with these things, I want to become whole, I want to become my full potential and grow into it, then life has to do these things. And that means basically, as you said, shaking your foundation. And that doesn't always come with a lot of pleasant experiences in life. It's going to be a bit of a shocker. It's more like a jigsaw puzzle that was put all together in a jumbled up way, but now it has to be broken up before it can be set in a more correct and the way it's meant to be. So structures, when they are broken, it can be quite painful. And sometimes for the audience who's watching, you may go through an experience or tragedy in life, or a series of them. All of that is just still working for you, and it may seem quite paradoxical or strange to hear that from someone like me, but look back to all the tragedies in your life and all the painful events, and you will notice that somehow those things were there to help you. Whether it was a breakup, whether it was a loss, or any of that, when you look back in hindsight, they all seem like it perfectly worked out well. But when you're in it, It's really like being in the cyclone. That's where what you were saying, Jeanette, is your focus on what you want to create, and keeping it there helps us to keep moving forward and stay objective instead of getting lost in the cyclone. We don't have to be lost in the cyclone.
Yes, yes. It's the swimming, no? Swimming towards towards the shore.
The shore.
Yeah, no? When you are when you think
Yeah.
you're drowning,
Yeah.
no, you're focusing on swimming towards the shore, and then things happen, and you see certain things now from a different point of view. Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
I suppose the conversation, the whole thing is really about, the whole game is about our focus in the end. Huh?
Yes, 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 and it's about for me focus. Yeah, it's observation. No, observation. You observe, and you then respond to that. No, and then this respond when you're seeing yourself whirling around, you say, okay, no, I'm out. I'm going towards here because that's what I will be creating. That's what I will be doing. And even not like we were talking also last week. No, it's not doing. No, it's really focusing onto something, but it doesn't mean you are doing to focus. Focusing is really your attention somewhere else, outside this whirlpool of thoughts, but not necessarily having to do something to distract, because it's not distraction.
Yes.
No, it's realization, letting go and focusing. So it's not that I'm doing something else not to think. No, I'm changing my thoughts to focus there. No?
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I didn't want to leave that piece out. And I'm so glad I was just having that. This is the magic of co-creation. I was just having that thought, you know what? Does it look like we're distracting ourselves? And no, there's a distinction there, as you say. Yeah. And this reminds me of an example of I forget the name of this person, but he was a scholar, an academician, a PhD holder who went to learn at a Zen monastery, and this was somewhere, I think, in North America, which is the cooler region, where it snows there. And then for the first 6 months, all he was given job was just to clean up stuff. Nothing, no spirituality, nothing was taught to him. And just to break his spirit, that's how these esoteric systems work. And after 6 months, finally, the senior monk, his master, said, okay, fine, we'll start with the purification process now. And the purification process was where for the first 6 weeks, he was supposed to go and have bath twice with the water outside. Outside, there is a wooden cabin. He has to have bath in it, and it's snowing outside. He has to collect the snow, heat up the snow to make it into water, can't boil it, just water. And by the time he's pouring it on his body, it is already converting into ice. And he's got one rough towel, which he has to use to scrub himself. But the towel, when he dips in the water, it also has icicles and turns into ice, so he can barely scrub it. And for the first 3 weeks or so, he's just struggling with this whole ritual of doing it twice a day. And he tried different things, breathing techniques, focusing on something else, like you said, putting your attention on what you want and not the pain. And the more he did that, the more painful this whole process got. And after about doing this fruitlessly for 3 weeks, it just struck him that, why am I doing this? If I'm here, I might as well experience what I'm experiencing. And he just put all of his attention on the sensations of feeling cold and experiencing it. And as he started doing that, he realized that it's not as painful as it is when he's trying to resist it by distracting himself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there is also wisdom, even in solitude, or where I'm here and processing my own, own stuff that's coming up for me, or wherever you are, or wherever anyone else was watching this. If you're in pain, if you are going through something, there is, of course, wisdom is in acknowledging that you're going through something, and also sitting with that. Not getting lost in the cyclone of it doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge it. You acknowledge that there is cyclone, that there are very heavy, powerful currents there, and then you allow yourself to process it through whatever release it needs, through writing, through crying, through speaking, or whatever it is. And of course, then not getting lost would be not the attitude, not playing the victim to it. I think that's what we are talking about here. Acknowledging it, releasing it, but not being the victim, but being the creator. Like always choosing that point of view. We are ultimately the creators of our life.
Yes, for sure. No, we do, or we create what we are. So if it, like going back, if I play the victim, I'm a victim.
Absolutely.
If I focus somewhere else, I will go there. I'm going somewhere else. So, but yes, like nice, like you said, no, nice and acknowledgement. I think when we were saying before realization, at the end it's the acknowledgement, no, and realization also is the like impregnation. You used that word at the beginning, I think. Impregnation of what it is. I don't know. No, okay. I realized. Okay.
And then release.
Yeah. And then it goes, because it's not done. It's not done. It's not that you say, I want to release it. I want to release it. No, it's in reality, it's natural process. When you realize, it's when you click. And when you click, you let it go, because it already clicked into something else. And then it's gone. It's not that I'm saying I want to let it go. If I want to let it go, and I want to let it go, and I want to let it go, I won't let it go.
You can't force it.
I'm there.
Yeah.
No? But it's the realization when you acknowledge something, you see it with a different point of view. You recognize it, you click, and when you click, it goes.
That is such a subtle point you've made there. It's I think the idea that you're trying to put forward is it's not about forcing it, but just being. I think if I were to go back to the word you use, it's not doing, it's being. Like we are not human doings, we are human beings.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
the thing. And everything, no, it's the beingness. It's the doing doesn't. It's distraction. I distract myself from something because I'm doing it. But if you are, no, from the inside out, if you are and are creating and are doing through the being, everything changes. And that's when we change, no? And our world changes, is because we are creating from the inside out. We are creating through the beingness. We are co-creating here through the beingness, not the doingness. We are co-creating here from the beingness. So everything changes because it comes from the inside, from the heart. And it's the being.
And I also want to just throw some light on the fact that, as I said some time back, acknowledging it and doing what it takes, or just being with that experience, not doing but being with it, can also sometimes means reaching out to people who may have that light for you, just sharing that space. And again, there's a distinction to that. Like if we have friends who look at these whole thing as sympathizing or just going into that whole thing of victimhood, then we are asking for trouble. But if we have friends, and if we have circle who, or if we have therapists perhaps, or anyone, any support worker that we may find, who can just be there and hold that space, that itself can do wonders, where you can just allow yourself to soak in from their beingness, from their presence, and that is more than enough sometimes.
Yes.
That also is a part of just processing whatever it is that one may be going through.
Yes.
And and I want to thank you for doing that, Jeannette, that last week that we could just catch up. And this is what friendship is about. Oftentimes it's just being available and being able to attend to your friends, just being there for them.
Yes, thank you. No, I appreciate you telling that. No, and I'm there. I'm here. I'm being, that. And yes, it's true, because when you have someone to hold it, you are able to share, openly, how people say in vulnerability.
Yes.
You also, it helps you when you talk, and when you share, it helps to see the things. So many times you alone, you're not able to see something with other things completely. You're stuck in something. But when you share, you're many times, again, you observe, you're sharing, you're explaining, and then you're also understanding something you weren't able to understand before. And that's why it's so important, the sharing, allowing yourself to really express what's inside of you, so that you also can understand what's inside of you and realize and do the realization.
Very well put, Jeannette. It's about hearing your own thoughts.
Yeah.
When it comes out, as you speak to someone who is truly there, listening and not judging you.
Yes.
Right? That's what holding the safe space means.
Yes.
To see, okay, whatever comes out, I'm not judging you. Just go for it. Just say what you have to say.
Yes. And
I think half of the correction happens just by listening to yourself.
Yes. Yes, always. And also when someone is listening, the person is listening for you, and it's there, and the questions that might come up are not for the person's curiosity, but for you to explain, maybe from a different point of view, or rephrase so that you understand what you're sharing.
True. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sunny. Always.
Jeannette.
It's like your name. I love your name.
Thank you. And yeah, I just love how beautifully this conversation flows between us every time we catch up.
Yes.
And who knows, how many people out there at what point in time will watch this. But I can tell one thing, my hope is that it goes out as a salve to people who are in pain or going through some process where they need some sort of acknowledgement of what they're going through. And I hope that this goes out to them. And whatever you're going through, it's just another stepping stone for your own growth. It's an opportunity that you can be grateful for, and even parts learn to be excited about, because that's just letting go of one additional weight on us, and we can just be lighter, really be the light beings that we truly are inside.
Yes. And we say it because we experience it ourselves, and we have been behind the mountain that we saw that it was so big, when we were scaling it, and we were in those, well, it happens every time, but we see things that are so huge to overcome. But once we've overcome them, we look back, and sometimes they are only stones, and that we have jumped, and we have grown so much. Maybe they're not stones, they're mountains, but that we are much bigger.
We become bigger, and now
Yeah.
they look like stones to us. How
Yeah.
beautifully put. How
Yes.
lovely.
So, yes,
Jeanette,
a lot of love
thank
to
you.
everyone. And
Thank you. Yeah.
thank you.
And to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. Also, love you.
Love you too.